गुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सर्वनाथानुतं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सर्वललिता श्रीविशाखानुतांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्राभिपीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाख्य सर्वलौकिक प्रद भागवत पुराण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभो परिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्या श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तु मे मदेक बंधो मत्संगिन मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मनिस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधुतादाय नतनी चोच्चताकर आनमुंच कदाचिन् मां प्रेम्णा त्वत्कण्ठयो स्फुर। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay, 3.1.43 to 3.2.6. नूनं नृपाणां त्रिमदोत्पथानां महिं मुहुश्चालयतां च मूढि बधात् प्रपन्नार्तिजिहीर्षयेषोऽप्युपैक्षिताघं भगवान् कुरु। Despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus, although they committed all sorts of sins, and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements, carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false pride. ननो हरे किमेवं लीलया येन स्वभक्तानां वनवासादि क्लेशाः भवन्ति स्वस्य च दौत्ये बन्धन उद्यम आदि पराभवः तद्वरं तेषाम् अपराध अनन्तरमेव हननं न अपराध उपेक्षया इत्यतः नूनम्. Now one might ask, what kind of pastime is this that Lord Hari is engaging in? That his own devotees experience sufferings in the form of exile in a forest fire, uh, and so on, and that when he himself becomes a messenger, he is arrested, and there is an attempt to arrest him, and so on. So in that way, there is some kind of a defeat. Tat varam, better that they would have been killed. These offenders would have been killed immediately after their offense. Not that these offenses needed to be neglected, not taken in very seriously into consideration. In response to that, this verse is spoken. Nunam nishitam tribihi madaihi utpathanam udvrittanam adhadeto prapannanam arte jiheshaya ishaha. अघ समये हंतुम समर्थ अपि कुरुणामघम उपैक्षत तदानीमेव तेषां वधे सर्वदुष्टराजा वधः न स्यादिति आशयेन इति अर्थः. The idea is that the Lord considered if he had punished um, them, the offenders, the Kauravas, at that moment itself, immediately after they committed their offenses, it would not have been possible for him to kill all the evil kings. Vidyamado dhanamadas tathaivaabhijano mada ete mada madandhanam ta eva hi satam dama. The three kinds of pride: the pride of knowledge, education, the pride of wealth, prosperity, and then the pride of having an aristocratic retinue. These are the three kinds of pride that belong to those who are blinded by pride, and these need to be repressed by the saintly. God, as declared in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appears in the mortal world to execute his much needed mission of killing the miscreants and giving protection to the suffering faithful. In spite of that mission, Lord Krishna tolerated the insult to Draupadi by the Kurus and the injustices perpetrated against the Pandavas, as well as insults to himself. The question may be raised: why did he tolerate such injustices and insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? When Draupadi was insulted in the assembly by the Kurus by their attempt to see her naked in the presence of all, the Lord protected Draupadi by supplying an unlimited length of clothing. But he did not chastise the insulting party immediately. This silence of the Lord does not mean, however, that he excused the offenses of the Kurus. There were many other kings on earth who had become very proud of three kinds of possessions: wealth, education, and followers. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was just waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at one time, just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. Godless kings or heads of state, when puffed up by advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. When Lord Krishna was personally present, there were many such kings all over the world, and he thus arranged for the battle of Kurukshetra. In his manifestation of Vishwarupa, the Lord expressed his mission of killing as follows: I have willingly descended to the earth in my capacity of inexorable time. That means unsubduable time. In order to decrease the unwanted population, I shall finish all those who have assembled here except you, the Pandavas. This killing does not wait for you to take part in it. It is already arranged. All will be killed by me. If you want to become famous as the hero of the battlefield and thus enjoy the booty of war, then Savyasachi, just become the immediate cause of this killing and thus take the credit. I have already killed all the great warriors: Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other great generals. Do not worry. Fight the battle and be famous as a great hero. This is Bhagavad Gita 11.32 to 34. The Lord always wants to see his devotee as the hero of some episode, which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. This is another reason. That and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. 44. Ajasya janmot pathan nashanaya karmanya kartur grahanaya pumsam nanmanyatha kor hatideha yogam paro gunanam utakarma tantram. The appearance of the Lord is manifested for the annihilation of the upstarts. His activities are transcendental and enacted for the understanding of all persons. Otherwise, since the Lord is transcendental to all material modes, what purpose could he serve by coming to earth? Madhvacharya quotes from Agneya. न देहयोगो ही जनिर्विष्णोर व्यक्तिर जनिस्मृता. Lord Vishnu's birth in this world is not by accepting a material body, not because of that. When he reveals himself, that is what is known as birth. Hare kartapya karteti phalabhavena bhanyate. And then he quotes another quote, another statement from the scriptures. Even though Lord Hari is the doer of everything, because he does not experience the material consequences of these activities, and he is said to be the non-doer of activities. सर्व दुर्वृत्त वधाद्यर्थम एव भगवतो जन्म कर्माणि न अन्यथा इति कैमुत्य न्यायेन आह. Actually, the Supreme Lord's appearance and activities are just to kill all kinds of people absorbed in evil behavior. This goes without saying. Ajasyapi janma, karturapi karmani. Even though he is unborn, he takes birth. And even though he is a non-doer, he engages in various duties. Pumsam grahਣaya, karmasu pravrittaye. He has done this for the understanding of all persons, which means to inspire them to engage in these duties. Anyatha nachedeva. Otherwise, tarhi bhagavatah janma adi katha tavadastam ko va anyah api gunanam parah gunatitah dehayogam karmavistaram va arhati iti. What to speak of his birth and activities? Who else, fully transcendental to the three modes, will expand the field of activities connected to his body? Ajasya janme tyavirbhava matram. The birth of the unborn simply refers to his appearance. Akartuh karmani iti svairalila iti arthaha. And the activities of the non-doer indicate that his activities are all of an independent nature. He does whatever he wants. He is not obliged to engage in any of these activities. Pumsam sarvesham grahਣaya swasmin manasa akarshanaya. And he performs these activities for the understanding of all persons, which means he wants to attract everyone's minds toward himself. Yathoktam Panchame, as stated in 5.25.10. अतः देहयोगमिति पुत्रत्वेन स्वीय क्रियमाणानां देहेषु आविर्भावमात्रम् इत्यर्थः. गुणानां परः कः पार्षदादिः अपि. It is simply in terms of his appearance that he engages in all these activities. Krishna Chakravarti Thakur. Question. ननु चिद्घनानंद रूपस्य भगवतः किमेवं प्राकृत लोक भद्रारुद्र मध्यवर्तित्वेन. The Supreme Personality of God's form is blissful and it is concentrated knowledge. So what is this that he is right in the middle of materialistic people, in the middle of auspicious and inauspicious situations? Satyam, that's true. Svabhakteshu vatsalyam anyatra sarvatrapi hitaishitvam iti dvavyave tatra hetuhu. It is simply out of his affection for his own devotees and his good wishes for everyone. Only these two reasons. Ajasya jivayan maya adhinataya janmadi vikara rahitasya api janma. Even though he is devoid of the 6 degrading transformations. Jayate, asti, vardhate, viparamate, apakshiyate, mriyate, from birth. Still, uh, he accepts birth, even though he's not a jiva uh, who has come under the control of Maya. Yogamaya bhakta prema adhinataya janma adi vilasa vatvam utpathanam sanmarga chidya masuranam नाशनाय स्वकर्तृक नाशनेन तेषां मोक्षदानाय. He accepts birth and he engages in various pastimes after his birth also. This is all by the influence of Yogamaya in out of a feeling of subordination towards his own devotees. And it is also for him to, he takes it upon himself to destroy the asuras who are trying to break the transcendental pathway. And by killing them, he actually wants to give them liberation. Akartuhu na asya karmani janmadau iti uktadisha sattvadiguna nibandhana kartritva rahitasya api karmani chidanandam mayani govardhana uttharana adini. And he engages in various activities even though he is a non-doer. The idea is that even though he is not a responsible agent caused by sattva-guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, still he engages in various activities of knowledge and bliss, such as lifting the Govardhan head. Pusam swabhaktanam sarvatra swargam moksha adi sukheshu api viraktanam grahanaya. Aswadaniyattvena svikaraya. This is actually for the people. The people here refer to his own devotees. Which kind of devotees? The devotees who are detached even from all kinds of happiness that are available everywhere. A happiness of swarga, a happiness of liberation, and so on. This is to accept them, which is to make them accept him as an object of relish. Yadva. Another explanation. Pumsa mukto mukshu samsarikanam jivanam grahanaya swasmin akarshanaya nivrittatarshayir upagiyamanad ityadehe. Another meaning. This is, he performs all these activities for the understanding of all persons. To get all persons. Who are these all persons? These all persons are the various types of jivas. The liberated souls, those who want to become liberated souls, and those in material existence who do not even want to become liberated souls. This is noted in 10.1.4. न तो अन्यथा जीवानां स्वकर्म अधीनम एव यथा जन्म कर्म न तथा इत्यर्थः. The jivas are under the control of their karmic reactions. The Supreme Lord's birth and activities are not like that. Karma adhina janma karma vatve dehena api tasya sambandhah karma adhina eva syat. Because then even in consideration of his body, he would come under the control of some kind of karmic reaction. Such a deha yoga gunatita bhakti siddha jivasya api nasti. But that kind of union with the material body, conjunction with the material body, that is not even there for jivatmas who have become perfect in transcendental bhakti, who have become perfected souls and who are engaged in gunatita bhakti, prakrita bhakti, transcendental bhakti, beyond the three modes of material nature. Kim puna sakshat parameshwarasya tasya. So then what to speak of the Supreme Lord himself? Iti aha gunanam paraha gunebhyah pruthakbhuta sannapi kah खलु जीवः अपि कर्मतन्त्रं कर्म अधीनं देहयोगम् अर्हति अपि तु न कोऽपि अत्र कर्मतन्त्रं देहयोगं न अर्हति इत्युक्ते अकर्मतन्त्रं देहयोगम् अर्हति इत्यर्थः लभ्यते. When it is stated that uh, he does not deserve communion with the body under the influence of karma, then the conclusion that arises is that he is connected with the body, not under the control of any karmic reaction. Tasya Parameshwarasya tu Mayaya Saha Yoga Asambhavat. And with regard to the Supreme Lord, because there is no possibility of him coexisting along with Maya, Mahamaya, Tadehasya Chidananda Ghanatvam Swateva Ayatam. So then the natural conclusion would be that the body with which he is connected has to be one which is concentrated knowledge and bliss. Ishvara Param Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadirada. Okay, Satchidananda Vigraha. The form of the Lord is eternal, blissful, and all satisfying. His so-called birth is therefore an appearance only, like the birth of the sun on the horizon. His birth does not, like that of the living entities, take place under the influence of material nature and the bondage of the reactions of past deeds. His works and activities are independent pastimes and are not subject to the reactions of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.14, it is said, Na mam karmani limpanti na me karma phalis priha iti mam yobhi janati karma bhir nasabadhyate. The law of karma enacted by the Supreme Lord for the living entities cannot be applicable to him, nor has Lord any desire to improve himself by activities like those of ordinary living beings. Ordinary living beings work for the improvement of their conditional lives, but the Lord is already full of all opulence, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Why should he desire improvement? No one can excel him in any opulence. And therefore, the desire for improvement is absolutely useless for him. One should always discriminate between the activities of the Lord and those of ordinary living beings. Thus, one may come to the right conclusion regarding the Lord's transcendental position. One who can come to the conclusion of the Lord's transcendence can become a devotee of the Lord and can at once be free from all reactions of past deeds. It is said, Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti-vaibhava. The Lord minimizes or nullifies the reactionary influence of the devotees' past deeds. That was Brahma Samhita 554. The activities of the Lord are to be accepted and relished by all living entities. His activities are meant to attract the ordinary man towards the Lord. The Lord always acts in favor of the devotees, and therefore ordinary men who are fruitive actors or seekers of salvation may be attracted to the Lord when he acts as the protector of the devotees. The fruitive actors can attain their goals by devotional service, and the salvationists can also attain their goal in life by devotional service to the Lord. The devotees do not want the fruitive results of their work, nor do they want any kind of salvation. They relish the glorious superhuman activities of the Lord, such as his lifting Govardhan hill and his killing the demon Putana in infancy. His activities are enacted to attract all kinds of men, karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas. Because he is transcendental to all laws of karma, there is no possibility of his accepting a form of Maya, like the forms forced on the ordinary living entities who are bound by the actions and reactions of their own deeds. The secondary purpose of his appearance is to annihilate the upstart asuras and to stop the nonsense of atheistic propaganda by less intelligent persons. By the Lord's causeless mercy, the asuras were killed personally by the personality of God and get salvation. The meaningful appearance of the Lord is always distinct from ordinary birth. Even the pure devotees have no connection with the material body, and certainly the Lord, who appears as he is in his Satchidananda form, is not limited by a material form. 45. तस्य प्रपन्नाखिललोकपानाम् अवस्थितानाम् अनुशासने स्वे अर्थाय जातस्य यदुष्वजस्य वार्तां सखे कीर्तये तीर्थकीर्ते. Oh, my friend, please therefore chant the glories of the Lord, who is meant to be glorified in the place of pilgrimage. He is unborn, and yet he appears by his causeless mercy upon the surrendered rulers of all parts of the universe. Only for their interest did he appear in the family of his unalloyed devotees, the Yadus. Tasmad evam bhuta achintyamaya vinodasya katham kathaya. So speak to me about this person who engages in uh, various sportive pastimes with the help of his inconceivable potency. This inconceivable potency, Yogamaya, which has this nature as described before. Ityataha. With this in mind, he speaks this verse. Tasya prapanna ye asvila lokapal. What is that? Akhila. Akhila lokapalaha. Tesham anyesham च स्वीय अनुशासने स्थितानाम अर्थाय यदुषु जातस्य तीर्थम संसार तारिणी कीर्तिः यस्य इति तीर्थकीर्ते. His glories deliver one from samsara or material existence. Jiva Goswami. Hanta hanta sa durvarta maya prabhase shruta eva tadhapi uttaram adadani api tvai pratyavayavam yat sprishtam tad khalu virapitameva tasma janmadirilameva tad vismaranaya shrotamicchami ityaha tasyet. That bad news has been heard by me in Prabhasa Kshetra itself. So I'm not able to actually answer your question. He had asked about the Yadus. Because that is just a matter of lamentation. Now, to forget all that, let me speak about the Lord's pastimes, beginning with his birth. Let me hear about that. अतः तस्य चिद्घनानंद रूपाणि जन्म कर्माणि एव कथय इत्याशेनाः Krishna Chakravarti. So speak about his birth and activities, which are filled with bliss and concentrated knowledge. तस्य प्रपन्ना ये अखिल लोकपालाः तेषाम् अन्येषां च स्वीय अनुशासने स्थितानाम् अर्थाय प्रयोजनाय. तीर्थं परमपावनी संसारतारिणी च कीर्तिः यस्य तस्य सर्वतीर्थेषु प्रायः कृतमज्जन एव अस्मि. Regarding Tirthakirte here, Chakravarti Thakur paraphrases Vidura's statement. Factually speaking, I have immersed myself in the holy waters in all the places of pilgrimage. Samprati tvam tesham saphalyam upadaya krishnasya kirti tirthamrite mam nimajjaya iti bhava. Here he is implying, now to make all of them a success, please immerse me in the nectarian water of Krishna's glories. There are innumerable rulers all over the universe and different varieties of planets. The sun god in the sun planet, the moon god in the moon planet, Indra in the heavenly planet, Vayu, Varuna, and those in the Brahmaloka planet where Lord Brahma is living. All are obedient servants of the Lord. Whenever there is any trouble in the administration of the innumerable planets in different universes, the rulers pray for an appearance and the Lord appears. The Bhagavatam 1.3.28 has already confirmed this in the following verse. Ete chamsha kalapamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakalam Lokam Ridayanti Yuge Yuge. In every millennium, whenever there is any trouble for the obedient rulers, the Lord appears. He also appears for the sake of his pure, unalloyed devotees. The surrendered rulers and the pure devotees are always strictly under the control of the Lord, and they are never disobedient to the desires of the Lord. The Lord is therefore always attentive to them. The purpose of pilgrimages is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as Tirtha Kirti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India. For example, in Mathura and Vrindavan, where we had a chance to stay, people are awake from early in the morning at 4 a.m. and up until night time and are constantly engaged some way or other in chanting the holy glories of the Lord. The beauty of such a pilgrimage site is that automatically one remembers the holy glories of the Lord. His name, fame, qualities, form, pastimes, and entourage are all identical to the Lord. And therefore, chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. At any time or anywhere, pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord. The Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord himself that he always stays where his pure devotees chant his glories. Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. I thought there was some question. Where was there a question? Somapati has asked a question. Why the Lord does not give them immediate punishment so that the sinners will not do further sins? No, it is not that when offenders receive punishments, they will stop committing sinful activities necessarily. The adamant ones will not, will continue to engage in sinful activities. It is their mentality which has to be rectified, and that rectification can only happen by themselves. They themselves have to spiritually grow up. They themselves have to decide to do this. Okay, chapter 2. Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Range 3.2.6. Fine. Next one. Sri Shukavacha. Iti Bhagavata Krishtaha Kshatravartam Priyashrayam Prativaktum Nachotseha Outkantyat Smariteshwaraha. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidurat, speak on the messages of the dearest Lord Krishna. Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord. द्वितीये कृष्ण विश्लेषाद अनुशोचन शोचन शोचन अथो वह क्षत्रे बालचरित्राणि कृष्णस्यावर्णयक्ष्वसन्. In the second chapter, Uddhava laments him being separated from Lord Krishna. And while sighing in separation, he described Lord Krishna's childhood pastimes. Tadevam priya vartam prishtasya uddhavasya Shri Krishna viraha outkanthya aveshena प्रतिवचन सामर्थ्यम आह षड्भिः इति स्मारितः ईश्वरः यस्य. So in 6 verses, it is pointed out that when Uddhava was asked about the pleasing news pertaining to Lord Krishna, overcome by uh, eagerness to be with Krishna out of separation from Lord Sri Krishna, Uddhava was unable to immediately answer. Smaritevi Smaranavishesham Gamayati. Iti Prema Vaiklavya Rodanas Napitananaha Brajalilam Samasena Rasantam Uddhavo Vadat. In the second chapter, Uddhava, his face bathed by tears due to deep love for the Supreme Lord, in agitation, spoke Krishna's Vrajalila in brief up to the end of, up to the rasa pastime of Lord Krishna. Krishna Vishlesha Vivriddha Prema Murchitasya Uddhavasya Prativachana Samarthyam Vadan Kamapi Dasham Darshayati. Because Uddhava was swooning in love for Lord Krishna, which had increased due to separation from him. There was some points out that he was unable to reply. At the same time, he also reveals his state to some extent. Why is it Vidura? Vidura. Tirasya uchaiः प्रश्नेभ्यः मूर्छाभंगेन स्मारितः ईश्वरः यस्य सः. Uddhava was in a state of murcha, swoon, due to love for Krishna. And Vidura had asked him a question loudly. So this broke his swoon. And then he was able to remember his master. Text 2. Yah panchah ayano matra pratar asaya yachitaha tannaichat rachayan yasya saparyam bala leelaya. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it. Etadeva Kaimutya Prapanchayati. Sukadeva Goswami then elaborates on this very description of Dhava by pointing out that there is nothing surprising about this. In 2 verses, text 2 and 3. Yah panchavarshaha api bala leelaya iti Krishnam kanchit parikalpya kalpitahi eva sadhanaihi paricharyam kurvan pratar bhojana artham matra prarthitah api tad bhojanam na aichat. Somehow or other, he made a deity of Lord Krishna and he was engaging in worship of Lord Krishna at the age of 5. Chakravarti tasya praktanim bhaktim darshayati. And this engagement in service to Lord Krishna has been there since a long time. And that is now shown here. Bala Lilaya iti Panchalika bhi khelayan neva amapi Panchalikam Krishnam parikalpya. कल्पितैः एव उपचारैः परिचर्यं कुर्वन् मात्रा प्रातः भोजनार्थं प्रार्थितः सम्प्रत्यपि मे भगवत्परिचर्या न निर्व्यूढा इति तद्भोजनं न ऐच्छत्. Somehow or other, with all these dolls and puppets, with that, he had engaged in his own way of service to Lord Krishna. When his mother called him for breakfast, Uddhava did not wish to have it because he thought, oh, I have not sufficiently served the Supreme Lord. From his very birth, Uddhava was a natural devotee of Lord Krishna or a Nityasiddha, a liberated soul. From natural instinct, he used to serve Lord Krishna even in his childhood. He used to play with dolls in the form of Krishna. He would serve the dolls by dressing, feeding, and worshipping them, and thus he was constantly absorbed in the play of transcendental realization. These are the signs of an eternally liberated soul. An eternally liberated soul is a devotee of the Lord who never forgets him. Human life is meant for reviving one's eternal relation with the Lord, and all religious injunctions are meant for awakening this dormant instinct of the living entity. The sooner this awakening is brought about, the quicker the mission of human life is fulfilled. In a good family of devotees, the child gets the opportunity to serve the Lord in many ways. A soul who is already advanced in devotional service has the opportunity to take birth in such an enlightened family. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 6.41. Chuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogam Bhrashto Bhi Jayate. Even the fallen devotee gets the opportunity to take his birth in the family of a well-situated Brahmana or in a rich, well-to-do mercantile family. In both these families, there is good opportunity to revive one's sense of God consciousness automatically, because particularly in these families, the worship of Lord Krishna is regularly performed and the child gets the opportunity to imitate the process of worship called Archana. The Pancharatriki formula for training persons in devotion service is temple worship, whereby the neophytes get the opportunity to learn devotional service to the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit also used to play with Krishna dolls in his childhood. In India, the children in good families are still given dolls of the Lord like Rama and Krishna or sometimes the demigods, so that they may develop the aptitude of service to the Lord. By the grace of the Lord, we were given the same opportunity by our parents, and the beginning of our life was based on this principle. It's 3. Satkam sevaya juttasya kalena jarasam gataha prushto vartam pratibruyad bhartuh padav anusmaran. Uddhava thus served the Lord continuously from childhood, and in his old age, that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. जरसत्वं वृद्धत्वं गतः प्राप्तः यस्य पञ्चालिकारूपस्य जरसं जरां कृतचिरसेवित्वम् इत्यर्थः वयसः अपि आसन् युवानः अतिबलौजस इत्यनेन विरोधः. This is a quote. What is this? What is this? Trace it out. I have a sense what it could mean, but I want to trace it out. So तत्र वयसोऽप्यासन् युवानो बलौजसः जीवन्तोक्षय मुकुन्दस्य मुखाम्बुजसुधां मुकुः. This is a description of Mathura. This is all in Mathura. after installing Ugrasena as the king, even the most elderly inhabitants of the city appeared youthful, full of strength and vitality, for with their eyes they constantly drank the elixir of Lord Mukunda's lotus face. So it is understood that when there's a description of Uddhava's old age, it simply means that he has been serving the Supreme Lord for such a long period in his life. Not that he was overcome by symptoms of old age, because that contradicts that statement in the 10th canto. तस्य सेवया हेतुना सेवा प्रभावेन इत्यर्थः. This is all by the influence of his service to Lord Krishna. काले समयेपि जरसमृद्धत्वं न गतः. He was not overtaken by old age. Oh, so there's a question here. How can he be overcome by old age due to the force of time? It's the literal meaning. So Krishna Chakravarti Thakur interprets this to mean that he was not overcome by symptoms of old age. Yadva kale ya seva, yasmin kale ya samuchitta seva, taya kalena iti vidya antataya vyakhyanam tu asangatam. Atra pravayasah api asan vivanaha ati balaujasa ityanena virodha. Here over time, old age should not be taken to mean by the force of time he had become old. Rather it means, okay, so he has broken like this. Kale space na space jarasam gataha. Even in his old age, he was not overcome by old age. Rather, he was engaged in appropriate forms of service at that time. If you were to take this to mean kalena in the literal sense, by the force of time, it was overcome by old age, that would be inappropriate, because it would contradict this statement in the 10th canto. Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation. Alam buddhi, this is the original word for which Prabhupada is using this expression, satiation. That means there's no feeling that, okay, I've had it, that's it, I'm satisfied. I no longer want it. But in the transcendent, okay. And therefore, there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not on the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old, and therefore, on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Uddhava undoubtedly became old, but that does not mean that his spirit became old. His service attitude matured on the transcendental plane, and therefore, as soon as he was questioned by Vidura about Lord Krishna, he at once remembered his Lord by reference to the context and forgot himself on the physical plane. That is a sign of pure devotion service to the Lord, as will be explained later on, Lakshanam Bhakti-yogasya, etc., in Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother Devahuti. 4. Samhurtam avut tushnim Krishnangri sudhaya bhrishyam tivrena bhakti yogena nimagna sadhu nirvritaha. For a moment, he remained dead silent. His body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper in that ecstasy. Okay, just 1 minute. He Krishnangri Sudhaya Sadhu Nirvritaha. Because of the nectar of the remembrance of the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, he was increasingly deeper in that ecstasy. तस्यामेव तीव्रेण विवशत्व आपादकेन भक्ति योगेन वृषम निमग्नः च. He was in a state of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga refers to love of Godhead generally, in a state of trance. तर्हि कथं प्रत्युक्तवान् उच्यते. Then how is it that Uddhava responded to Vidura? That is now stated. Uchyate. Sri Bhagavata eva swanitya leela yaha manasi darshanena santvanad ityaha sa iti tribhi. In 3 verses that is pointed out. This Sri Bhagavan himself, he manifested his eternal pastimes in his heart. And in that manner, he consoled Vidura. Chakravati. Padayoha anusmaranam vivrinoti. It was stated that he was continuously in remembrance of his master's feet. That is now elaborated here. Vidura prashnaihi uddhavasya murcha bhange sati. When by Vidura's questions, Uddhava's swoon had broken. Hanta hanta tena prabhunaham virahitah asmi. Iti Shri Krishna Angriyaha Smaranena Sakshatkare Sati Prapta ya Saundarya Sudha Taya Aswadyamanaya Muhurtam Ghatika Dvaya Paryantam Tushnim Sitaha Bhut. Uddhava immediately thought, oh, now I am separated from my master. Uddhava was a servant of Lord Krishna. We always considered Krishna as his master. Krishna is always referred to as Uddhava's master also. Oh, I am separated from my master. Thinking in that manner, he was absorbed in the nectar of the beauty of Lord Krishna when he was directly manifested to Uddhava in his heart. So while relishing that, he was silent for a muhurta. Muhurta refers to Ghatika Dvaya. Here. What is it, Ghatika? I thought a Ghatika is some 45 minutes or something. Ghatika. Then 2 Ghatikas. For 1 hour, Uddhava was silent. ततश्च तीव्रेण कृष्ण विश्लेष वृद्धेन भक्ति योगेन प्रेमणा आस्वादन भूम्ना तस्यामेव सुधायां निमग्नः विस्मृत कृष्ण विश्लेष दुःख सन् साधु यथा स्यात् तथा निर्वृतः अभूत्. And then when he was absorbed in such intense bhakti yoga, love of Godhead, which had increased due to his separation from Lord Krishna, in that state, when he was relishing Lord Krishna's beauty, he had forgotten the distress caused by separation from Lord Krishna. He became satisfied. But what? On the inquiry by Vidura about Krishna, Uddhava appeared to be awakened from slumber. He appeared to regret that he had forgotten the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus he again remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and remembered all his transcendental loving service unto him, and by so doing, he felt the same ecstasy that he used to feel in the presence of the Lord. Because the Lord is absolute, there is no difference between his remembrance and his personal presence. Thus Uddhava remained completely silent for a moment. But then he appeared to be going deeper and deeper into ecstasy. Feelings of ecstasy are displayed by highly advanced devotees of the Lord. There are 8 kinds of transcendental changes in the body: tears, shivering of the body, perspiration, restlessness, throbbing, choking of the throat, etc. And all were manifested by Uddhava in the presence of Vidura. 5. पुलकोद्भिन्न सर्वांगो नीलदृशा शुचः पूर्णार्थो लक्षितस्तेन स्नेह प्रसर संप्लुतः. It was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that he had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord. पुलकै उद्भिन्नानि उज्जृम्भितानि सर्वाणि अंगानि यस्य मीलन्त्यादृशा शुचः अश्रूणि मुञ्चन्. His eyes were closed, but tears were flowing from them. तेन विदुरेण पूर्णार्थ कृतार्थ लक्षितः. So Vidura saw that he was completely perfect in spiritual realization. Yataha bhagavati ya sneha tasya prasaraha puraha tasmin samplutah nimagnaha. Because he was immersed completely in affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nirvritya anubhavam darshayati. He now reveals the various external features of Vidura as he was experiencing spiritual satisfaction. पुलकैः उद्भिन्नानि अंकुरितानि सर्वाणि अंगानि इति उद्भिदः तरुगुल्म आद्या इति स्तम्भः च व्यञ्जितः. These are various symptoms that we come across in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. मीलन्त्यादृशा शुचः अश्रूणि मुञ्चन् तेन विदुरेण पूर्णार्थ कृतार्थ लक्षितः अनुभावैः अनुमितेन premna ityartha. So Vidura could understand, could infer that this person is now in love of Krishna. Yatah premna eva bhagavati sneha chittadravah tasya prasara puraha. Puraha. Tasmin sampluta nimagnaha. प्रथमं प्रेम्णि निमग्नः ततः तद्वितीय कक्षायां स्नेहे निमग्नः इत्यर्थः. So initially he was immersed in the state of prema bhakti, and then later he was immersed in the next stage. There are stages beyond prema, sneha, which sadhakas cannot experience in this life. There's some question here. We see some devotees have interest to do bhakti, but family does not support. What should they do in such cases? They should tolerate. Prabhupada tolerated. So they should tolerate and they should go on in their Krishna consciousness. How pure devotees perform devotional service even though they become old? Is it possible for everyone? It is possible for everyone to become a pure devotee of Krishna and a perfect pure devotee of Krishna, irrespective of age. So they're empowered by Krishna to do these things. The symptoms of the highest order of devotional life were observed by Vidura, an experienced devotee of the Lord, and he confirmed Uddhava's perfection stage of love of Godhead. Ecstatic bodily changes are manifested from the spiritual plane and are not artificial expressions developed by practice. There are three different stages of development in devotional service. The first stage is that of following the regulative principles prescribed in the codes of devotional service. The second stage is that of assimilation and realization of the steady condition of devotional service. And the last stage is that of ecstasy symptomized by transcendental bodily expression. The 9 different modes of devotion service, such as hearing, chanting, and remembering, are the beginning of the process. By regular hearing of the glories and pastimes of the Lord, the impurities in the student's heart begin to be washed off. The more one is cleansed of the impurities, the more one becomes fixed in devotion service. Gradually, the activities take the forms of steadiness, firm faith, taste, realization, and assimilation one after another. These different stages of gradual development increase love of God. The highest stage, and in the highest stage, there are still more symptoms such as affection, anger, attachment, gradually rising in exceptional cases to the Mahabhava stage, which is generally not possible for the living entities. All these were manifested by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the personification of love of God. In the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, by Srila Rupa Goswami, the chief disciple of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these transcendental symptoms displayed by pure devotees like Uddhava are systematically described. We have written a summary study of the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu entitled The Nectar of Devotion. And one may consult this book for more detailed information on the science of devotional service. 6. Shanakai Bhagavalokan Nrilokam Punaragataha Vimrjya Netre Viduram Prityahodhava Utsmayan. The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood. Bhagaval Lokan, Bhagavaneva Lokaha, Tasmat. So he uh, came back from the abode of the Lord means the Lord is himself his abode. Nirlokam, Dehanusandhanam. And he came to the human plane means he came to this plane where he was thinking about his body and so on. The body here. Utsmayan. Yadukula samharadi bhagavat chaturya smaranena vismayam prapnuvan. And he became astonished. Astonished by remembering the cleverness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by destroying his Yadu dynasty and so on. Bhagaval Lokat, Nitya Leelamaya Dwaraka Akhyat. Jiva Goswami points out Bhagaval Lokat has another meaning. It refers to Dwaraka, where the Lord's eternal pastimes take place. Nilokam, Bahadrishyamanam Viduradimayam Manushya Lokam, Agataha, Anusandadhanaha. So then he became conscious of this external world. of human beings, in which personalities like Vidura were a part of it. Utsmayan tat anubhavena uchaihi anandita ityartha. And Uddhava was very, very happy, loudly happy. Chakravarti. ततः च भगवल्लोकात् स्वप्रेम उद्रेकेन प्रापितात् नित्यलीलामय द्वारका आख्यात् निर्लोकं विदुरप्रेम्णा आकृष्यमाणः सन् आगतः. Due to the increase of his love of Krishna, Vidura's soul was actually sent to that place of the Lord's eternal abode, Dwaraka, in the spiritual world. From there, out of Vidura's love for Uddhava, he was attracted to this world of human beings, and therefore he came. Punaha, punaragataha, punariti, dvitiya murcha bhange sati iti arthaha. Puna means again. He again came to this world, which indicates that for the second time, his swoon was broken. Utsmayam, Bhubhara Haranadi Chaturya Swarnena Vismayam Prapnuman. Yadva Bhodhava Viduram Prati Uttarena Samadhaya Punaratra Agacha Iti Bhagavad Ashvasena Utkrishtam Smitam Kurvan. The Lord had told Uddhava in his Samadhi, answer Vidura's questions, and then come back to me here. That way, he was consoled by the Supreme Personality of God. So he became very, very happy. When Uddhava was fully absorbed in the transcendental ecstasy of love of God, he actually forgot all about the external world. The pure devotee lives constantly in the abode of the Supreme Lord, even in the present body, which apparently belongs to this world. The pure devotee is not exactly on the bodily plane, since he is absorbed in the transcendental thought of the Supreme. When Uddhava wanted to speak to Vidura, he came down from the abode of the Lord Dwaraka to the material plane of human beings. Even though a pure devotee is present on this mortal planet, he is here in relation to the Lord for engagement in transcendental loving service and not for any material cause. A living entity can live either on the material plane or in the transcendental abode of the Lord in accordance with this existential condition. The conditional changes of the living entity are explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the instructions given to Srila Rupa Goswami by Lord Sri Chaitanya. The living entities all over the universe are enjoying the effects of the respective fruitive results of their own work, life after life. Out of all of them, some may be influenced by the association of pure devotees and thus get the chance to execute devotion service by attainment of taste. This is the Bhakti Lata Beach. Taste. This taste is the seed of devotion service, and one who is fortunate enough to have received such a seed is advised to sow it in the core of his heart. As one cultivates the seed by pouring water to fructify it, the seed of devotion service sown in the heart of the devotee may be cultured by pouring water in the form of hearing and chanting of the holy name and pastimes of the Lord. The creeper of devotion service, so nourished, gradually grows, and the devotee acting as a gardener goes on pouring the water of constant hearing and chanting. The creeper of devotion service enters into the spiritual sky, growing still higher and higher until it reaches the planet Goloka Vrindavan. The devotee gardener is in touch with the abode of the Lord even from the material plane by dint of performing devotion service to the Lord simply by hearing and chanting. As a creeper takes shelter of another stronger tree, similarly, the creeper of devotion service, nourished by the devotee, takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and thus becomes fixed. When the creeper is fixed, then the fruit of the creeper comes into existence, and the gardener who nourished it is able to enjoy this fruit of love, and his life becomes successful. That Uddhava reached this stage is evident from his teachings. He could simultaneously reach the supreme planet and still appear in this world. Okay, some question here. These 8 symptoms of ecstasy are not visible anywhere in anyone. Does it mean nobody is attaining them? They're very rare. Are they very difficult to obtain? Yes. Okay, so I'll stop with that. Let's resume when today is. Okay, we'll resume tomorrow, Saturday, 17th May. Anshakal Badrugashil Pasan Dipshi Vacha Bhattana Brahmin Vishnu Namaha.